Hello everyone, this is DHtheGamer, and I will be doing a quote-unquote Let's Play of Warcraft 2. I will be reading the missions and the retcon for both Warcraft 2 Tides of Darkness and its expansion, Warcraft 2 Beyond the Dark Portal. Now, the reason why I'm also doing this like I did for Warcraft, Orcs, and Humans is due to, again, my computer's too advanced to run the game, as I have to use a DOSBox to run it. However, this game is much easier than its predecessor. For example, instead of selecting up to 4 units at a time, you can select up to 9, which can make you can macro and micro a lot more. Also, something that is introduced in this game that has not been introduced since it is it has added an additional resource, and this resource is oil, because Warcraft 2 implements the first use of ships, which adds a new style of gameplay to the RTS series. Now, I have played Warcraft 2 Tides of Darkness on the DOSBox, and I have to say it is pretty fun. And one of the reasons why it's so fun is because, to me, it's much easier, and there are more than just the orcs and humans, because in Warcraft 2 you get to more races are added into each of the sides. You finally get the Alliance versus the Horde. The Alliance gets the Alliance gets the allies, the elves, the high elves, the dwarves, and the gnomes, while the orcs gain the allies of the trolls, more specifically the forest trolls, the ogres, and the goblins. And something else that has been implemented in this game that has differed from its predecessor is the introduction of hero units. And some of these hero units you may have heard of. For instance, you can control Uther, the Lightbringer, which was a human human paladin. You had Grom Hellscream, which was a chieftain of the Warsong tribe, and then you have Deathwing, which is only in the expansion. And is that everything I will talk about the game? And there is a retcon on it, as something I'd like to mention is that Tides of Darkness like Warcraft, Orcs, and Humans, keeps up with the non-linear. Warcraft 2 in general keeps up with the non-linear format of game styles, meaning that you could start with either campaign. And in Tides of Darkness, this caused some problems. However, in Beyond the Dark Portal, the expansion, the events start to become more linear, so there's less information that conflicts with the lore of the game. So, I believe now would be a good time for me to go on to the missions. Okay, now first I will be doing the missions of the Tides of Darkness, the original Warcraft 2. The introduction. 6 years have passed since the first war between man and orc. As a side note, this was the events of Warcraft, Orcs, and Humans. The once might army of Azeroth lay among the blackened and charred remains of Stormwind Keep. Those that escaped fled across the great sea, bringing tales of the suffering they had faced at the hands of the orcish hordes. Eager to engage in battle once again, the orcs constructed ships of war to bear them across the great sea. The orcish warriors yearned for the sounds of battle to fill the air, and looked to the far horizon for new blood to spill. Using the weapons forged by their new allies, the humans made haste to prepare for the onslaught. While dwarven cannon were being loaded, others armed themselves with elven steel and mail. Now united in arms with new allies against a common foe, mankind stands at the shores of destiny and awaits the coming of the tides of darkness. Act 1, Seas of Blood. Zuldar. The Horde is preparing to launch an assault against the mainland of Lordaeron. Ogrim Doomhammer, the war chief of the Orcish hordes and ruler of the Blackrock clan, has ordered you to establish a small outpost on Lordaeron's southern shores. To secure Zuldar region, as Doomhammer demands, you will need to construct a barracks and several farms to feed your troops. Your success may help us determine the extent of the pathetic human defenses and what resistance they can offer against our forces. Mission number 2, Raid at Hillsbrad. Spies report that a band of human soldiers have captured a war party led by troll commander Zul'jin and have taken them to a secret prison near the township of Hillsbrad. Seeing an opportunity to place these captives in debt to the Horde, Doomhammer sends you to ransom Zul'jin and his troops and return them to their own encampment nearby. The war chief believes that this raid upon the unsuspecting prison will strike terror in the hearts of those who would dare resist the Horde. Part 3, South Shore. In preparation for a final strike on Hillsbrad, the war chief directs you to begin construction of facilities for the Orcish armada near the South Shore region. Zul'jin and the trolls, eager to take revenge upon the humans who imprisoned them, have agreed to aid the Horde by supplying axe throwers and destroyers to assist in defending your South Shore operation. A shipyard must be constructed in order to build our wave riders, and you will need much of the black liquid known as oil to build your fleet. Our assault on Hillsbrad cannot begin until your task is completed. Mission number 4, Assault on Hillsbrad. Now that the armada is well supplied with the precious black substance that your tankers have amassed, Doomhammer feels it is time to make a gruesome example of Hillsbrad. With the aid of new foundry sites that allow you to construct more advanced ships, you may build transports to deliver your forces across the channel to the cowering human settlement. All who oppose the Horde must be taught a harsh lesson. Leave no one alive. Act 2, Khaz-Modan. Mission number 5, Tol Barad. The township of Hillsbrad has been decimated, and throughout the human kingdoms the rumors of impending doom spread like wildfire. War Chief Doomhammer is pleased with your success and has deemed you worthy of a more difficult task. Troubles have arisen in the dwarven lands of Khaz-Modan. A task force of Stormguard warriors had laid siege to Dun Modur, a vital staging area for Horde troops. You are to retake Dun Modur and then bring your forces to bear against Stormguard's nearby island citadel of Tol Barad. Mission number 6, the Badlands. Doomhammer sent word that the ogre maid Cho'Gall, chieftain of the Twilight's Hammer clan, is personally inspecting the refinery at Grim Batal. Cho'Gall and his convoy will be traveling through the Badlands of Khaz-Modan, and an ambush by Stormguard warriors is expected. The war chief expects you to safeguard Cho'Gall and his minions through this region. Should he die, your life will be forfeit as well. Mission number 7, The Fall of Stormguard. Cho'Gall reports that Khaz-Modan refineries are well maintained and fulfilling their quotas. The Horde will now have more than enough oil to mount a fierce campaign in the lands far to the north. Only the troublesome human defenders of Stormguard remain to be dealt with before sending the Horde on its next sojourn. The human fleet has captured a group of our transports just south of Stormguard. Recapture these vessels and then lay waste to their capital. Act 3, Quel'Thalas. Mission number 8,
the runestone at Ser Daro. Your forces have been assigned to an area along the southern border of the elven kingdom of Quel'Thalas. Gul'dan, hoping to sow the seeds of chaos among the human and elven allies, has located a mysterious elven artifact near the keep of Ser Daro. This huge monolithic runestone is guarded by a human castle on a small island located in the middle of Daromir Lake. You must destroy the forces and guard the relic and gain control of the runestone for use by the Horde. The Raising of Tyr's Hand. With the capture of the Elven Runestone, Gul'dan has been able to warp the power it contains to mutate an entire legion of his loyal and ruthless ogres into wielders of arcane magics. Along with his transformation, these ogre magi have been granted deadly magics and a malicious cunning rivaling that of Gul'dan himself. You are to employ the ogre magi in the creation and defense of a fortress at the mouth of Tyr's Bay, cutting off the human supply lines into Quel'Thalas. Mission number 10. The destruction of Stratholme. Stratholme, the chief source of Alliance oil in the north, is preparing to deliver massive amounts of oil to the kingdoms in western Lordaeron. You must sabotage their refineries and platforms to halt this shipment. Once Stratholme's ability to gather and process oil is destroyed, proceed to crush any and all resistance offered by the Alliance. Mission 11. The dead rise as Quel'Thalas falls. With the destruction of Stratholme, the Alliance supply lines into Quel'Thalas have been severed. Only a handful of human and elven defenders remain to safeguard the ancient elf kingdom from the onslaught of the Horde. The enchanted domain of the Ills has inspired Gul'dan to release his most perverted creation, the Death Knights. Formed from the corpses of the fallen Knights of Azeroth, these once proud defenders of humanity now serve the Horde in a blasphemous state of eternal undeath, conjuring dark spells of necromantic horror upon their terrified foes. These Death Knights seek to unleash their wrath upon any foolish enough to stand in their way. Act 4. Tides of Darkness. Mission number 12. The Tomb of Sargeras. The Northlands have fallen, and now only the western regions of Lordaeron stand defiant before the ultimate supremacy of the Horde. As the Orcs clans prepare for their final massive campaign against the weakening Alliance, the War Chief sends you ill tidings. Gul'dan and his Stormreaver clan have betrayed the Horde and coerced the Twilight Hammer clan to set sail in search for an ancient tomb said to be buried beneath the waves. An infiltrator under the direction of Doomhammer reports that Gul'dan has indeed raised volcanic islands from the ocean floor and thus has opened a hidden vault. While it is unknown what the Great Warlock has released from this tomb, the War Chief has issued this command: destroy the renegade clans and return with the head of Gul'dan. Mission number 13. The Siege of Dalaran. The hour of judgment is close at hand, as the Orcish Horde stand ready to sweep across this domain like a pestilence and seize the capital of Lordaeron. Standing vigilant above the plains like the descending arm of the twilight itself is the violet citadel of Dalaran. The citadel, serving as sanctum and haven to the mages of Lordaeron, is the last barrier between the Orcs and their subjugation of humanity. Manifested in the combined magical prowess of all mages within the Alliance, this place must fall with the Horde to conquer Lordaeron. Fortunately, Ogrim Doomhammer has saved his greatest weapon, ready to unleash it upon the unsuspecting Alliance at just this moment. Dragons. The Fall, Chapter 14, The Fall of Lordaeron. The alabaster parapets of Lordaeron's capital loom before you in the distance. The proud, defiant enemies of the Alliance stand resolute in their final fleeting moments. All that remains is the shrill clarion call to battle and the fulfillment of our destiny. The tides of darkness are now at hand. Victory for the Horde. The victory pyres burn high into the twilight skies covering the ruined capital of Lordaeron. Your success has led Ogrim Doomhammer, War Chief of the Orcish Hordes, to elevate you to the station of Warlord, thus giving you power and command of your own clan. The Alliance has finally been crushed, with all those surviving being slain and cremated as is dictated by the rituals
At long last, Azeroth and all of its lands belong to the thunderous force, known to those foolish enough to stand in its way as the Horde. Now, that was the Orc campaign, and like you would see in Warcraft Orcs and Humans, the human campaign will contradict what the Horde campaign has stated. So after I finish the human campaign, reading the missions, I will go to the retcon. And again, if I did not mention this, I'm sorry, but I will have the links in the description if you would want to read these instead of listening to my voice. So now, time for the human campaign. Act 1, The Shores of Lordaeron. Mission 1, Hillsbrad. Due to your position as regional commander of the Southern Defense Forces, Lord Tyrannus commands that you raise an outpost in the Hillsbrad foothills. It is rumored that Orcish marauders have been raiding coastal towns in the area, but whether these attacks are part of a greater Horde offensive is, as yet, unknown. Your outpost is to provide food and information for Alliance troops, and as such should be a community consisting of at least 4 farms. You must also construct a barracks in order to safeguard the Hillsbrad. Mission 2, Ambush at Terran Mill. The mysterious elves of Silvermoon have sent a contingent of archers south to survey the supposed Orcish threat for themselves. Our spies report that shortly after passing through the Alterac grasslands, the elves were ambushed by Horde troops. It is believed that these elves are now being held in a small prison camp near the southwest region of Terran Mill. Lord Tyrannus, fervently hoping to enlist the elves into the Alliance, has asked that you search for the missing warriors and deliver them to safety. The elves have sent a cadre of archers to assist in your quest. You will also be provided with plans to construct an elven lumber mill and the Sylvian craftsmen to operate it. Mission 3, South Shore. With the safe return of the elves from the loathsome clutches of the orcs, the Council of Silvermoon has resolved to combine the armies of Quel'Thalas with those of the Alliance of Lordaeron. And as a show of their support, a mighty fleet of elven destroyers have been sent to help safeguard the Lordaeron mainland. In preparation for arrival of these ships, Dalen Proudmoore, Lord of Kultiris and Grand Admiral of the Lordaeron fleet, has ordered that you begin the construction of naval facilities near the township of South Shore. There is some suspicion that the Horde has constructed a secret base near the mainland, so it is imperative that you begin building your defenses with haste. Chapter 4, Attack on Zoldair. Having established some order in the region with the display of naval power, Admiral Proudmoore advises that the time has come to search out the secret lair of the Orcs. Scouts report that this base is located somewhere within the Zoldair region of the Channel Islands, just southeast of Hillsbrad. Lordaeron artificers have completed designs for a foundry. With this new innovation, you will be able to construct transport ships that can ferry your troops across large bodies of water. These vessels should provide great assistance in the completion of your task. Act 2, Cosmodon. Chapter 5, Tol Barad. Although the Horde has been driven from the shores of Lordaeron, it has left the townships of Hillsbrad and South Shore in ruins. It is clear that the war will cost the Alliance dearly. Impressed with your victories against the Horde and the destruction of the Zoldair base, the High Command has decided to dispatch you and your troops to the main battleground. The forces of Stormguard and Kultiris are stationed along the northern border of Cosmodon, fighting to keep the Orcs from advancing into southern Lordaeron. An Orcish outpost, nestled near the ruins of the ancient dwarven city of Dun Moder, has repeatedly beaten back Alliance troops and ravaged the surrounding farmlands. You must reclaim the nearby island and keep at Tol Barad and then launch an attack upon the outpost. Don Agaz. Following their defeat at Dun Moder, the Orcs were forced to retreat south across the Thandal Valley to his secondary outpost at Dun Algaz. Lord Lothar, hoping to push the Orcs even further back into Cosmodon, has ordered that you destroy this newly discovered encampment. To aid you in your mission, you will be able to employ knights who are eager to engage the Horde in glorious battle. Mission 7, Grim Batal. Advanced scouts report that they have located Grim Batal, the primary base of the Horde's refinery operations in Khazad-Modan. Seeing a chance to strike a decisive blow against the Horde, Lord Lothar has ordered that you infiltrate Grim Batal and put an end to all Orcish activity there. Once Grim Batal has been destroyed, Lothar believes that the Orcs will have no further use for Khazad-Modan, thus pulling their forces back to the mainland of Azeroth. Victory could secure the shores of Lordaeron and greatly impede the Horde offensive. Act 3, The Northlands, Tyr's Hand. With the destruction of the Dunmudr and the fall of Grim Batal, the Orcs have completely withdrawn their armies from Khazad-Modan. While your victories have been notable, the menace of the Horde still hangs over the head of the Alliance. Lord Lothar has stationed your troops in the Northlands to protect the borders of Quel'Thalas. Troubles have arisen in the township of Tyr's Hand with the local peasant population in the state of minor revolt. You must quell this uprising and then summon the Knights of the Silver Hand to watch over the populace. To maintain order in the region, you must search out all of the Horde forces in the area and destroy them. Mission 9, The Battle of Daromir. With his paladins keeping vigilant watch over the Northlands, the Archbishop's assistant, Uther the Lightbringer of Lordaeron, has come to offer comfort to those who are suffering the misfortunes of war. Lord Lothar has entrusted you with the protection of the paladins, commander, and his entourage as they travel to the island township of Ser Daro. Chapter 10, The Prisoners. Following the Battle of Ser Daro, a number of renegade Alterac soldiers were captured. A crew of Alterac sailors were also caught assisting the Horde during the battle and have been placed under close guard. Under the edict of Lord Lothar, you are to restrain the prisoners until they can be escorted to the capital of Lordaeron for interrogation. Chapter 11. Yes, Betrayal and the Destruction of Alterac. Lord Lothar sends word that the Alliance has been betrayed. Lord Perinold, sovereign ruler of Alterac, has been working with the Horde since the beginning of the war. It was Perinold who provided the Orcs with the routes of the Elven strike force passing through the Terran Mill. The rebellion at Tyr's Hand was also started by Alterac spies in hopes of concealing the Orcish mining facility located there. The High Command has decreed that the nation of Alterac has committed treason against the Alliance, and their union with the Orcish Horde must be broken. You must free those unjustly held by Perinold and enlist their aid in launching an attack against Alterac's capital. Act 4. Return to Azeroth. With the destruction of Alterac, the Orcish armies in the north have staged a massive retreat. Admiral Cranmore sends word that the Gnomish submarines have located the Horde's main naval base near Crestfall. Cranmore believes that the Orcs plan to launch the remainder of their armada and retreat to the mainland of Azeroth. Lord Lothar has ordered that you destroy the base at Crestfall before the fleet can escape. Chapter 13. Assault on Blackrock Spire. The remnants of the routed Orcish fleet have managed to reach the northern shores of Azeroth. Admiral Pradmore believes that the Horde will attempt to reinforce their main fortress at Blackrock Spire. Leading a large strike force of Lordaeron troops, Lord Lothar was sent to attempt a parley with the Orcish chieftain, Orgrim Doomhammer. No reports have been heard in days. Assuming the worst, Admiral Pradmore and King Turnus agree that it falls upon you to stage a final siege upon Blackrock Spire. The feral dwarves of the Northland Wildlands have offered the service of their Griffin Riders to assist in the decimation of the foul Orcs that have desecrated their homeland and slain the leader of the Alliance forces. Chapter 14. The Great Portal. The Orcs have been driven from the Northlands as the hulking remains of Blackrock Spire lay silent among the freed lands of Azeroth. The battered remains of the once mighty Horde have rallied to protect their last bastion of hope, the Great Portal. With Lord Lothar dead, you have been given the duty of leading the forces of Lordaeron to ultimate victory over the Horde, a victory that lies with the destruction of the Great Portal itself. Victory for the Alliance. Quiet settles over the Black Morass with the blackened, burning remains of the cursed portal serving as a solemn reminder of the evil that once stood there. After the long and savage battle, you stand victorious over the tattered remains of the once mighty orcish hordes. Those orcs that survived the conflict have fled to the northeast in hopes of escaping your vengeance. You allow them reprieve, knowing that the power of the horde has been forever broken, and that the lands of Azeroth belong to its native sons and daughters once again. So, as you can see, there are some contradictions with the lore, and also something that's interesting is that there are some common scenarios in both the human and orc campaign. Also, something I would like to mention, when I did play through the game, the farthest I have gotten to is Chapter 11 of the Horde campaign, as I did not choose to use catapults like I should. So, if I were to go back and play through, I'm still have to do 11, 12, 13, and 14 for my personal use. Now, we will get to the retcon of Warcraft 2. Warcraft 2 featured two interweaving campaigns with two separate and alternate endings. The true ending was found in the Alliance campaign with a nearly complete defeat of the Horde in the Eastern Kingdoms. The expansion took it further by making the campaigns linear, with Horde campaign taking place entirely before the Alliance campaign. The High Elves joined the Alliance following an attack on their archers passing through the Terran Mills human campaign, so that actually happened, I believe. Oh, yes. Okay, these are what happened. The Horde was driven from the Hillsbrad region and Khaz-Modan. The nation of Alterac betrayed the alliance of Lordaeron and was destroyed human campaign. The runestone at Ser Dara was captured by the Horde and used to create the Ogre Magi, or campaign. Gul'dan betrayed Ogrim Doomhammer and withdrew his forces in order to seek out the tomb of Sargeras, or campaign. Dalaran was raised by the Horde, or campaign. The Alliance forces defeated the Horde at Blackrock Spire, then recaptured and attempted to destroy the Dark Portal, human campaign. Lothar is betrayed, ambushed and killed by the Horde when invited to Blackrock Spire for a diplomatic parley. Others say Lothar died in single combat against Doomhammer during the assault on Blackrock Spire, although Alliance Player's Guide 2006 still mentions that the ambush still occurred and hints that foul play was involved, and the single combat wasn't as honorable as perceived, more than one against him. Horde Player's Guide explains further that the witnesses and the stories give mixed accounts which include elements of both versions of the event. After having been defeated by Doomhammer's forces at the Tomb of Sargeras in Warcraft 2 War Campaign, Gul'dan is attacked by demons after he opens the tomb, as foreshadowed during a cutscene at the beginning of the act. In the Frozen, well, I will not get to that just yet, so don't read that, because I will get to that later. Quel'Thalas raised by the Horde, or campaign. While it did not completely fall, much of Quel'Thalas was destroyed by dragons during the Second War, and ravaged by the undead in the Third, forming the Blackened Woods, later known by its alternate nickname, Ghostlands. Dune Algaz, raised by the Alliance human campaign, hinted at in the Lands of Conflict that was important in the Second War, and left a derelict after. Grim Batal, raised by the Alliance. While it did not completely fall, Milan's forces met some success on the surface. Stormguard, raised by the Horde. While it did not completely fall, much of Stormguard was damaged by the Horde under Auroch Scratcher's commander. Lordaeron, raised by the Horde. The Horde destroyed much of Lordaeron's outer defenses and structures, but this city did not fall to the Horde. Events which occurred in one of Warcraft 2 campaigns, but did not ultimately form part of the lore, include the Horde's ultimate victory, or campaign ending. Other events are indeterminate, not conflicting with any other accounts, but also not being referred to again. The Wraithing of Strathhold and Tyre's Hand by the Horde. Now, since we know what is false in the Tides of Darkness campaign, the missions. Now we can begin the first linear missions and campaign that Blizzard has done in their RTS games for expansion Beyond the Dark Portal. The Orc Campaign, Act 1, Draenor, the Red World. Mission 1, Slayer of the Shadow Moon. Through the Elder Shaman, Ner'zhul holds the rank of War Chief of Draenor. Your position as Slayer to the Shadow Moon clan places the duty of leading their armies into battle upon your head. Ner'zhul has discovered how the rift was first formed and now covets the idea of not only reopening the gateway into Azeroth, but of creating new portals and seeking out even more worlds to conquer. You must subjugate an order of Death Knights who have secured the knowledge needed to rebuild the Dark Portal. The renegade or ogre mage Mogor of the Laughing Skull clan has taken control of these dark soldiers and is seeking to create a powerful spell with the aid of their necromantic magic. His life is also forfeit. Although we have no dragons to command, we have learned that Grom Hellscream, leader of the Warsong clan, has been captured by the Laughing Skull as being held prisoner. Free him and he will surely aid you in your battles. Chapter 2, The Skull of Gul'dan. The Skull of Gul'dan is a powerful artifact essential for resurrecting the Dark Portal. A pathetic orc captain of the Bone Chewer clan wears the skull as a symbol of his station and does not know of its true power. Ner'zhul has sent the ogre hero Dentarg to influence warriors from the Thunderlord's clan to join in the battle against the Bone Chewers. He will also be assisted by warriors of the Shattered Hand and their leader Kor'gath Bladefist. Move quickly to the Thunderlord village and raise an army to crush the Bone Chewer captain and win the Skull of Gul'dan. Chapter 3, Thunderlord and Bone Chewer. Ner'zhul has met with opposition to his plans from the leaders of both the Thunderlord and Bone Chewer clans. They desire to journey to Azeroth and have their clans triumph where Doomhammer has failed. This is a vision not shared by your war chief. You are to lead the forces of Shadowmoon against the strongholds of both Bone Chewer and Thunderlord. Once these weak fools and their clans are removed, no others will dare to interfere with the dark schemes of Ner'zhul. Act 2, The Burning of Azeroth. Chapter 4, The Rift Awakened. From the ranks of the Death Knights come Teron Gorefiend. The Death Knight of Gul'dan has placed these dark horsemen under the authority of no clan, but Gorefiend shares the desires of Ner'zhul to open numerous portals. He offers his influence over the Death Knights of Draenor in exchange for a world that the Death Knights can claim as their own. Using the knowledge gained at the defeat of the Ogre Mage Mogor and the necromantic powers of the Death Knights, Ner'zhul successfully awakens the arcane energies of the Mystic Rift. As you lead the forces of Shadowmoon into Azeroth, a human battlement that has been constructed to keep the portal closed stands before you. Destroy the citadel and claim the lands that surround the rift. 5. Dragons of Blackrock Spire. When the Horde was driven back into the Black Morass, we were able only to take a small portion of our forces through the Dark Portal before it was destroyed. With the Dragon Queen, Alexstrasza, rescued and the Dragon Maw captured by the Alliance, we were no longer able to command these great winged beasts. While securing the rift and beginning construction of a new portal, your encampment is approached by a haggard grunt. His uniform marks him a warrior of the Bleeding Hollow. He tells how those of his clan who did not return through the portal have eluded capture and imprisonment by the Alliance armies. You also learn that many other dragons that were once enslaved have continued to feed upon humans and are now roosting at Blackrock Spire. If you can break through the human defenses and gain the trust of these creatures, perhaps you can bring Ner'zhul powerful allies. Chapter 6, New Stormwind. Finding the survivors of the Bleeding Hollow clan and gaining the dragon Deathwing as an ally has strengthened your position in Azeroth. Your success has not gone unnoticed by Ner'zhul. He rewards your victories by assigning you a dangerous mission. Gorefiend has sensed a focus of arcane energies within a castle that has been raised upon the foundations of Stormwind Keep. Ner'zhul believes that this can only be the fabled Book of Medivh. Only a fool would leave such a power unguarded, so your assault upon this new Stormwind castle will be a bloody one. Act 3, The Great Sea. Chapter 7, The Seas of Azeroth. After taking the castle of New Stormwind, you search in vain for the Book of Medivh. As you sift through the rubble of the fallen human fortress, you discover the corpse of a footman with a human dagger in his side. The spies of Bleeding Hollow clan have confirmed that this blade was crafted by the weaponsmiths of Alterac. These humans are the same that were willing to betray their own brothers, and it may be that they have stolen the Book of Medivh for their own purposes. They will regret their decision. To journey to Alterac, you must first establish naval superiority over the warships of the Alliance. The base at Kul Tiras have always been the humans' key to the might of their armada. You must establish a strong presence in the Great Sea in order to destroy Kul Tiras and prepare your way into Alterac. Chapter 8, The Assault on Kul Tiras. Now that you have cleared a path to the island of Kul Tiras, you must send your wave riders against the core of the human fleet. With the naval forces of the humans defeated, the Horde will have a free reign of the Great Sea. We have also learned that Admiral Proudmoore is no longer a member of the Alliance and does not have the support of their armies. Remove his armada and Kul Tiras will fall. Chapter 9, The Tomb of Sargeras. Like we haven't heard that prior. Now that the Great Sea is once again under the dominion of our wave riders, Ner'zhul has come upon a plan to increase the powers of the Dark Portal. While he was the tutor of Gul'dan, the shaman bound their souls so that they could keep watch over his disciple. Even though Gul'dan knew that this link would serve to inform Ner'zhul of the warlock studies with the spirits that dwelt in the twisting nether, he was too arrogant to care. Ner'zhul has ordered you to lead a small band to the tomb in order to find the jeweled scepter of Sargeras. The remains of the Stormreaver and Twilight's Hammer encampment surround the entrance to the tomb, and the howling of their tortured souls fill the air. Although the inhabitants of this place died long ago, their bodies have been torn from the earthen graves by the vile magics of the demons and made to stalk this region for all eternity. Is this the way? Yeah. Excuse me. Act 4. Prelude to New Worlds. Alterac. Your capture of the Jeweled Scepter has greatly pleased Ner'zhul. Word has come that you are to entrust it to the remaining warriors of the Bleeding Hollow clan, as they are to return it to Draenor at all haste. Deathwing and his dragons deliver you to the keep at Alterac. While you could easily bring these cursed to their knees, they have hidden the tomb you seek. They are also cunning enough to strike a bargain, knowing it is their only salvation. Should they tell you the location of the book, however, they feel the retribution of the nations of Lordaeron and Stormguard. They would be willing to exchange the Book of Medivh for the destruction of these forces that sit along their borders. You must eliminate the military outpost maintained by Lordaeron and Stormguard. Then seal your pact by entering into Alterac, contacting the human mage who guards the book, and escorting him to safety. Chapter 11, The Eye of Dalaran. With the Book of Medivh in your control and the Jeweled Scepter delivered to Ner'zhul, only one artifact remains to be won. The mages of Dalaran have created a device to focus their magics in an effort to reconstruct the Violet Citadel. Ner'zhul desires the Eye of Dalaran to focus the dark powers of the underworld for the creation of his portals. Terran Gorfine has traveled to the stronghold of the human mages at Cross Island, where they now rebuild their towers and heavy fortifications. You must break through their shoreline defenses, establish a base, and capture the Eye of Dalaran. No walls will protect them from the vengeance of the Horde. Chapter 12, The Dark Portal. As the burning remains of your victims fill the air with acrid smoke, the sky is filled with a figure as black as night. Deathwing descends, exhausted from his long journey from Grim Batal, bearing grave news from his brothers at Blackrock Spire. The Alliance has sent a host of warriors to the Black Morass and has engaged the forces of Warsong and Shattered Hand at the Dark Portal. You must rally the forces of Shadowmoon to break through the siege and return the artifacts you have secured to Draenor. Only then can Ner'zhul's plan of opening portals to new worlds be realized. Succeed, and you will command vast armies as they ravage untold worlds. Fail and be slaughtered. Nerzul's victory. Nerzul holds the ancient scepter of Sargeras in the air and intones the final words of the spell of conjuration. The air above you begins to swirl and presses down upon the assembled masses of the horde. Above you the crimson sky breaks open and reveals the chaotic pathways of the twisting nether. As Nerzul deploys his remaining forces towards the new portals, you glimpse the Shattered Hand and Warsong clans awaiting orders on the other side of the dark portal. Master, you ask, should we not recall all of our forces from Azeroth? No, the ancient shaman replies coldly. They have served their purpose. From this point on, all that we gain will be ours alone. Nerzul gives a wicked grin as you unquestionably following him into the swirling madness of the twisting nether. Human campaign.
Act 1, A Time for Heroes. 1. Alaria's Journey. Lord Khadgar, Keeper of the Eternal Watch and Master of the Mystic Citadel of Nethergard, has sensed a dark power gathering around the remnants of the rift that lies within the Black Morass. He believes that a new Orcish invasion is imminent, and has urged the Alliance to act. The Elven Ranger, Alaria, and a small band of her elite guard has been sent as escorts so that you may gather reinforcements to counter this threat. Your travels to the castle of New Stormwind will lead you across the paths of both the paladin called Toralion and a mercenary captain known as Danath. Engage their aid during your journey, as their leadership may be needed by the Alliance in the dark days ahead. Chapter 2, The Battle of Nethergard. A great host of orcs have reconstructed the dark portal and now lay siege to the citadel of Nethergard. The horde still maintain their hold over the great winged dragons of Azeroth. A faction of these creatures, seeming to have grown to crave the taste of battle, have become willing allies with the orcs under the leadership of a great black dragon known only as Deathwing. Danath have asked you to raise an army from New Stormwind to relieve the beleaguered forces at Nethergard and drive the horde back toward the portal. Excuse me. Danath has been asked to raise an army from New Stormwind to relieve the beleaguered forces at Nethergard and drive the horde back towards the portal. You must lead the forces of Azeroth in an attempt to break the vanguard of the invading horde, for unless their assault is stopped, they will gain dominion over the Black Morass. Chapter 3. Once more unto the breach. Having broken the momentum of the horde offensive at Nethergard, the time is ripe for a decisive counterattack. The High Command agrees that a strong assault upon the fortress that the orcs have raised near the Dark Portal may well end the conflict before it has rightly begun. The Arch-Wizard, Khadgar, however, believes that the orcish hordes may not be here for the sake of mere conquest. He believes that if the portal can be captured and not destroyed, he can uncover the purpose of the horde's present invasion into Azeroth. Now it's time for Act 2, Draenor, the Red World. Chapter 4, Beyond the Dark Portal. Elven scouts bring chilling news from Azeroth. A tearing of shadows heralded the arrival of the mighty orc shaman Nerzul and his guard of death knights within the royal library of New Stormwind. Unleashing their black magics, they slaughtered all who opposed them and then fled into the night with their prize, the Book of Medivh. This serves to confirm that Khadgar has gleaned from the Battle of Nethergard. He is convinced that the Horde is attempting to learn how the Great Sorcerer opened the rift between our world and that of the Horde, known in the Book of Medivh only as Draenor. With countless domains to plunder, the Horde would become an unstoppable power. The High Command believes that our only resource is to venture through the portal, both to reclaim the Book of Medivh and to ensure that the Horde can never again threaten Azeroth. Chapter 5, Upon the Shadowed Seas. Having fortified your position on the Hellfire Peninsula where the portal is located, the time has come to establish a fleet to attack the surrounding clans. The Orcish shipyards of Zethkor lie nearby, and for our plans to progress you must destroy them and the ships of war that are stationed there. While the hordes have been stunned by the ferocity of your attack, our presence has been
here has driven the clans to new heights of fury. You will be unable to maintain the foothold for long against their numbers, so your victories must be daring and swift. Chapter 6. The Fall of Auchindoun. Curdon, the Griffin Rider of Northuron, has returned from his patrol with vital news. He has located the fortress of Auchindoun, the battlements that serve as stronghold to the Bleeding Hollow clan. Alaria's rangers also report that there have been a massive force moving towards the north, and suspect that these troops are staging for another attack upon Azeroth. Although the Orcish army is too large for your forces to battle alone, you may be able to launch a raid against Auchindoun should your strike succeed. You would force their army to retreat or be cut off and destroyed. Raise the fortress of Auchindoun and retreat before their forces can rally against you. Act 3. War in the Shadows. Deathwing. The arcane powers that surround the blazing ruins of Auchindoun have made the urgent summoning of Khadgar to the Darkland of the Orcs. The destruction of the Bleeding Hollow clan was not without great price, however, for both Curdon and his mouth Skyri were captured by the Horde. While examining the remains of the great fortress, the Arch-Wizard has learned not only the location of the Book of Medivh, but also that another artifact is needed for Ner'zhul's plans to reach fruition, the Skull of Gul'dan. Khadgar believes it will be possible to destroy the portal and permanently seal the rift created by Medivh if he can acquire these artifacts. A great mountain isle lies to the northeast, atop which the black dragon Deathwing dwells. The Skull of Gul'dan lies within his lair. Alaria and Khadgar have agreed to aid you in stealing away the skull and, if possible, destroy the great dragon. It is rumored that Orcish tribes live on the island and offer captors from the great wars as sacrifices to Deathwing. If you can rescue them, they may know some weaknesses in the creature. Chapter 8. Coast of Bones. Seeking out the artifacts needed to seal the rift has given the Horde time to mount a strike against us. A great Orcish armada threatens the coast that you have captured, and the armies of the Alliance have been hard-pressed on many fronts. Our only chance for victory now lies in obtaining the Book of Medivh. All knowledge of the portal rests in the keeping of Ner'zhul and his Order of Death Knights. At the Fortress of Shadowmoon, he must storm and raze the strongholds that guard the coastline of his lands, so that our forces may be brought to bear in an effort to isolate and destroy his cursed sanctuary. Chapter 9. The Heart of Evil. The towering spires of Shadowmoon reach upwards as obsidian blades to cleave the hostile amber skies above. The corrupt heart of the mighty shaman's power is within reach. Press your attack, and the bane of Ner'zhul and his Order of Death Knights will be wiped from the face of Draenor forever. By destroying his dark fortress and claiming the Book of Medivh, Khadgar will be able to close the rift, and Azeroth will be rid of the Orcish hordes once and for all. Act 4. The Measure of Valor. The Siege of the Vanguard. Although the fortress of Ner'zhul has been destroyed and the Death Knights scattered, neither the Shaman nor the Book of Medivh has been found. As Khadgar and Turalion use their magics to search the ruins for some clue as to the location of the Mystic Tomb, a gnomish flying machine descends, bringing news from the Hellfire Peninsula and the portal. A multitude of orcs have laid siege to the fortifications at Hellfire. Although the attacking warriors are not well equipped, their sheer numbers may spell the downfall of our forces. We must take command of the Alliance armies at Hellfire and break the siege before our troops are pushed back through the dark portal. We must withstand their charge long enough for the Book of Medivh to be recovered and the rift forever sealed. Dance of the Laughing Skull. You have proven your strength in battle, but none can stand against the combined might of the Horde. We of the Laughing Skull clan, however, seek advantage from the turmoil of this war. With the aid of your strongest warriors, our clan can gain dominance over the northern clans of Draenor. Do not show surprise, human. Only the strongest survive within the Horde. You must secure the passes along the Blade's Edge Mountains and destroy the stronghold of the Thunderlord clan that dwell there. We will supply you with warriors and supplies culled from our villages. In return, we will give you the Book of Medivh, which we seized from Nerzul's stronghold before your armies could destroy it. Chapter 12. The Bitter Taste of Victory. Khadgar had discovered that although the Book of Medivh was stolen from Nerzul, the ancient shaman has learned enough of its secrets to conjure his darkest spell. Over the blood-red skies of Draenor, huge dimensional rifts appear, crackling with the cosmic energy of the twisting nether. Hilarious scouts report that Nerzul and his followers escaped through the largest of the new rifts as Draenor felt the first of its death throes. The tremendous energies emitted from the converging rifts have succeeded in breaking down the fabric of reality in Draenor, unleashing massive earthquakes and tidal waves upon its shores. Unless the Dark Portal is closed on both worlds, Azeroth will be subject to an enormous backlash of energy resulting from Draenor's catastrophic discorporation. Using the combined powers of the Book of Medivh and the Skull of Gul'dan, you must return Khadgar to the Dark Portal and seal the rift between Azeroth and the doomed world of Draenor forever. So this is basically the Alliance's victory, Khadgar's sacrifice. As the flames die to the embers, and the arcane energies that once bound two worlds slowly fade, the Dark Portal crumbles into dust as its powers subside and dissolve. The finality of what has been done here becomes manifest. The moment is shattered as volcanoes erupt in fiery fury as the earth begins to shake beneath your feet. The world of Draenor is dying. Khadgar motions toward the remaining rifts created by Nerzul and beckons you to follow him. The warriors of Azeroth under your control gaze upon the rifts with uncertainty, but to remain would be suicide. Knowing that their beloved Azeroth is safe from harm, they gather up weapons and wounded companions alike as you lead them into the swirling unknown reaches of the twisting nether. So, that is the entirety of Warcraft 2. And boy, was that just a lot of information to speak. So far, I've yawned a couple times. Here comes another one. But, yeah. Now we have finally gotten all of the precursor lore needed for Warcraft 3, which I will be doing possibly tomorrow. So, now with this completed, Warcraft 3 is in sight, and I will be actually doing actual gameplay of Warcraft 3, because I know for a fact my computer can run it. So thank you for bearing with me, fans, with fans of Warcraft. Well, let me rephrase that. Thank you for bearing with me through this basically text-based adventure where I just read. You just listened to me read about the lore of the game. So I will be reading. Well, no, I will not be reading. I will be begin playing the different missions in Warcraft 3 starting tomorrow, and it should last, let's just say, a little bit longer than these two videos I made on Warcraft Orcs and Humans and Warcraft 2. So this is DHtheGamer, and I hope to see you guys